For our last debate, I am joined by Jordan Ziegler and Dylan VanderVeen to talk about the remaining teams in the Sweet 16. More specifically, which of the low-ranked teams have a legit shot for a championship? There are currently 6 teams left in the tournament with the 6th seed or higher. Which one will make a run for the championship? Dylan, let's hear your thoughts.
So I think there's a lot of good teams here that have the chance. There's a lot of good ones. Princeton, obviously I love Princeton. Like look at Princeton.
It's not happening.
They're one of like the best 3-point shooting teams in the nation. But I'm going to go with the team that's going to beat is going to actually make to the Final Four at least, and it's going to be Creighton. Creighton's a 6th seed, and Creighton is just. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. They just kind of killed Baylor in my opinion. They absolutely blew them out on the opposite side of the ball. They completely took care of them. And honestly, that's impressive no matter what it is, because it's a powerful Big 12 team, and you know what the Big 12 conference did this season. And I mean, just blowing a team like that out of the water from that conference, it's definitely making me think that they're going to be heard this year.
Yeah, I actually really like the Creighton pick. I'm not going to lie to you. I have one problem with Creighton. They're in the South. They're going to have to go through Alabama. Alabama is the most dominant team in this tournament by probably a mile right now. I mean, they're the best team by pretty much every single metric in the country. And that's why I stayed away from them. I have Michigan State. They're a 7 seed. 1, they've made it to the Final Four as a 7 seed before. 2, when you talk about 6 seeds or higher, the 7 seed is statistically the most likely to make the Final Four. UConn, Michigan State, multiple teams have done it before. I really like Michigan State doing it right now because they're in the East. You got to look at like who they're going to play in their bracket. Tennessee is the best team left that they have to play. I really don't think Michigan State's going to struggle with K-State. K-State's not a great neutral court team. They have almost no March Madness experience except for their coach, who wasn't even a head coach when he was coaching in March. Tom Izzo has the 5th most tournament wins by any coach to ever exist. He has won a national championship. He's made the Final Four as a 7 seed before. And Michigan State's the 25th overall team in KenPom.
Yeah.
So they're better than their seed.
No. Well, the only problem was, what did you say? Michigan State was what, 20th in KenPom?
25th.
25th in KenPom? Yeah, Creighton's 13th in KenPom.
No, Creighton is better than KenPom.
And they're a 6 seed. I mean, that's kind of almost kind of disrespectful. I mean, if you're really going to look at it, 4 times 3 would be 12. I mean, 4 seed would be the lowest one you're going to have there. If you're going to go by KenPom, obviously they don't. But, I mean, just kind of disrespectful in that opinion, and they're a 6 seed, and now they're proving what they have versus Baylor, which I do agree with the Alabama pick. You do make a good point with Alabama. I do think they're definitely the best team left. But Creighton is an experienced team. They've played together for a lot of time. They've had some heartbreak in the past, and I just think Creighton could possibly be the team to beat an Alabama team who really, honestly, anybody that watches college sports, no one wants Alabama to win a national title in college basketball. So, I mean, I put them as the winner in my March Madness bracket because I think they're going to win it. It's going to be them or UCLA, I mean, is what I was looking at. But you know what? Teams get hot. You mentioned Michigan State. Michigan State, they've been hot before. UConn's gotten hot in the past. There's always those teams that get hot. And Creighton has gotten hot at the right time, in my opinion. They were a great team. And, I mean, Bama, that's one team. And other than that, when you're looking at that conference, I don't think there's another team that can stand in Creighton's way other than Alabama if they do somehow beat Alabama.
That's a good point. And what would be interesting is Creighton and Michigan State would play in the Final Four if they both made it. So that would be kind of exciting. But another thing you have to talk about, teams that win March Madness are teams that shoot the 3 ball really well, typically. That's a pretty good formula to win March Madness, especially if you're an underdog like Michigan State is. They're the 3rd best 3-point shooting team in the nation. Now, Creighton's a very good 3-point shooting team as well. I'll give you that. But they're not as good as Michigan State is. 8 out of Michigan State's 14 players are upperclassmen as well, including 2 graduate students playing. Michigan State has experience. They're one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country. They have one of the best coaches of all time, period. Michigan State played one of the hardest non-conference schedules in America this year, and they played it really well and still were only the 26th neutral court team in the nation, right? Being all the way up at 26 in neutral court when you lost games on neutral court to Gonzaga and other good teams throughout the year and still being 26 and having that strength of schedule, being that good, being that well coached, Michigan State, in my opinion, should have been like a 4 seed. So the fact that they're a 7 seed is kind of disrespectful. The fact that they have one of the easiest paths to the national championship is also kind of disrespectful. And to be 100% honest, if Creighton and Michigan State go head-to-head in the Final Four, Michigan State has the advantage, I think.
If you really look at it, you go Creighton, you go Michigan State, you go 6 and 7 seed. If you're meeting them in the Final Four, we're talking Bama's already knocked out by Creighton. You go Michigan State, already kind of got through a little bit easier. They already beat Marquette, who I chose them to beat Marquette. Shaka Smart.
Same.
Come on. Shaka Smart can't win national.
No,
can't win
definitely
March
not.
Madness games. Come on, he can't win March Madness games. But just those two teams, they'd be easily the hottest teams in college basketball at that point. Obviously, Creighton coming off Alabama and just having that edge over Michigan State. You do mention Michigan State is a great three-point shooting team, and so is Creighton, but Creighton is a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball, in my opinion. They've got a little bit more size. They're both good teams, but I think Creighton could have that little bit of an edge, hold them to a little bit lower three-point shooting, and that's how you're going to beat Michigan State.
I mean, that is how you beat Michigan State, but that's a lot of what ifs. But another thing you have to mention, Michigan State just beat Marquette, who was one of the hottest teams in the country going into that game. They won the Big East tournament, and they won the Big East. The Big East was one of the best conferences by a mile this year, and Creighton beat them while only making 3 or 4 threes the entire game. Their recipe to win didn't work, and they still won because they were so well coached and had such good experience.
Absolutely.
But, that's going to wrap it up for this debate. Obviously, 2 great picks, probably 2 of the lowest seeded best seeds of all time, if that makes any sense. Creighton and Michigan State, both great teams, and honestly, both have a very good shot at stunning the world.